Namaste, Sitaram, a pleasant good morning. Welcome to Rudraaya. I'm your host, Nisha Sharma, and Rudraaya is being brought to you with kind compliments of Maha Mandir. And of course, our Mandir is located at 850 Tapscott Road, Unit 34 in Scarborough, with Tapscott and McNichol being our closest intersection. So, without further ado, we'll get straight into our pravachan with our spiritual leader, Pandit Ravi Sharma. Enjoy.
Prem se bole Shri Ramapati Mahadev ki jai. Dear devotees, the age that we are living in, indeed, it is called as Kali Yuga. At the end of the Mahabharata, Yudhishthir was crowned as the king, and so he was ruling Hastinapur righteously after the Kurukshetra war. One day, Bhagavan Krishna visited Hastinapur. Yudhishthir was at the court, and other Pandavas, the other four brothers, they came and started having conversation with Bhagavan Krishna. Krishna indicated that he hopes that everyone indeed is faring well. Whenever Krishna would come, there would be conversations about dharma. And so, Yudhishthir begins to ask of Krishna, now that dharma is dominant, how will Kali Yuga continue to be? Will dharma be sustained? How will the life of people be affected in Kali Yuga without dharma? Arjuna asked of Krishna. Krishna, he smiles. It is not that easy to explain. Better let me demonstrate to you all about the life of people in this Kali Yuga. And saying so, Krishna, he took a bow and he stringed 4 arrows and he shot them in 4 different directions. Now Arjuna and the other Pandavas, go and bring back the arrows to me. It is said that 4 brothers were sent in the 4 directions. Each one of them, they went in the different direction in search of the arrows. When Arjuna, he picked up the first arrow, he heard a very sweet voice. He heard a cuckoo sing in a charming voice. Mesmerized, he stood listening to the whole song of the cuckoo. When he looked up for the cuckoo, he was shocked to see that the cuckoo was singing and at the same time eating the flesh of a live rabbit. The rabbit was crying in agony. He was astounded to see such an act by a divine bird. He left the place wondering why such a divine cuckoo would do something that is so cruel. The next person to reach for the arrow was Bhima. Bhima picked up the arrow where 5 wells were situated. One widespread single well was in the center, surrounded by 4 wells. The 4 wells were overflowing with sweet water, as if they were not able to hold the water. But surprisingly, the big one in the center was completely empty. Puzzled at the sight, Bhima left for the palace. Nakul, who had found an arrow, already while on his return to the palace saw a cow which was about to give birth. He waited to see the cow and the calf's condition after the birth. After giving birth, the cow started licking the calf, but to his surprise, the cow did not stop licking. Continued licking even after the calf was clean. With deep difficulty, He was confused. And so Nakul wondered that such a behavior from such a calm animal. He returned towards the palace, pondering on the behavior of the cow. Sahadeva, when he picked up the arrow which fell near a mountain, he saw a big boulder falling. The boulder was fallen or coming with full speed, uncontrollable. It was destroying, crushing everything on its way down. But the boulder was stopped by a small plant along the pathway. Sahadeva was stunned at the sight. The boulder, which crushed big trees and demolished rocks into pieces, was stopped by a small plant. He rushed towards the palace to ask about the reason for such an act. And so the 4 Pandavas returned towards the palace and they explained what they had seen. They sounded surprised, confused, and startled, and asked for explanation from Krishna. Krishna smiles. He started explaining towards the Pandavas, Arjuna, what you saw of how the cuckoo itself was singing sweetly, but yet eaten, the rabbit, is a relationship between those who holds high positions in Sanatana Dharma, between the priests and devotees, will happen in Kali Yuga. The priests indeed will have very sweet voice and great knowledge, but they will exploit devotees in the very same way that a cuckoo sings sweetly, but exploited the rabbit. He turns towards Bhim and said, Bhim, what you saw is how wealth will be in Kali Yuga. The poor will live amongst the rich. The rich will have massive amounts of wealth, which will keep increasing and overflowing, but they will not offer even a single penny towards many of the poor ones. They will waste the money for themselves as if they will continue to gain more and more, not sharing it with those who are needed. Just like how the 4 wells were overflowing while the center one was empty. Krishna, he looks at Nakul. Nakul, what you see and how the cow was licking at the calf and not stopping even though blood was oozing from the calf. In Kali Yuga, many parents will be like these cows. They will love their children so much that even this love will destroy their lives, their dreams, and even the future of their children. And Sahadeva, what you saw indeed is how people will live in this Kali Yuga. People will fall in the terms of character. They will come crushing like huge boulders, destroying everything along their pathway. Just like the boulder, they will come crushing, not listening to any type of good advice. They will become unstoppable. They won't follow even the path of Dharma. But when they get to know what they have done is against Dharma, when they realize that all that they have done are selfish acts, then they will call upon God for help. They will be stopped from falling further down like the plant that stopped this boulder. They won't get hurt and they won't be broken into pieces. Hence, just one call upon God's name is like this plant that will help them and hold them from this doom. Just as the small plant saved the boulder from falling further, similarly also, God's name is like this plant that will stop and help us to achieve our goal. May the blessings of the Lord be upon each and every one of you. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shantihi, Harihi Om.
Jesu mirat sedavo Gananayak kare vad vadana Garahu anugrah Bodhirashi Shubhagun Sadana Mukha hoi vacha Pangu charhe girvar kahana Jasu kripa sudaya Dravo sakala kalimal dahana Nila saraura Karunaya runa vari janayana Karo vasumama uradhana Sada shira sagar shayana Gungainu samadeha Om Ramana Karunayana Jai Dina Parane Karo Kripa Mardhanamayana Bando Guru Parakanja Kripa Sindhu Narupa Hari Mamohatamapu Jasu Vachana Ravikarani Kara Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Rama Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Rama Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Ram.
My dear viewers, I hope you've enjoyed this morning's pravachan. And we are still in this midst of this pandemic. And, it's almost a constitutional right in Canada to enjoy the spring weather, for putting up with all those cold, dreary days of winter. However, we continue to stay in a lockdown state during this pandemic. So please, keep the faith, have the courage, one day at a time, and hopefully this tune will be over soon. Without further ado, we'll get straight into our health segment with Dr. Sachin Ramkisoon.
Sitaram and welcome to Health Corner. I am Dr. Sachin Ramkisoon, and today is the first day in our three-part series on heat-related injuries. Today we are discussing the heat illnesses that can occur in hot weather. This topic is especially important at this hot time of year, as you no doubt have heard stories of individuals becoming very sick or dying from extreme heat. Heat illness commonly occurs during the summer months or when traveling to hot countries. So it is important to know how to recognize the signs of danger and what you can do to protect yourself. Human body temperature is 37 degrees. When the body temperature rises above this, heat is released by sweating and increasing blood flow to the skin. This allows the body to cool down and return to the normal 37 degrees. Heat illness can occur when your body is unable to properly cool down. This can occur when you're exposed to very hot temperatures or if you are doing intense physical activity without cooling down. If the humidity is also high, sweat does not evaporate easily, which impairs the body's ability to cool down even further. Heat illness is especially important to be aware of in the summer months and for those that travel to hot climates. There are three main types of heat illness, ranging from heat cramps, heat exhaustion, and heat stroke. The mild form of heat illness is heat cramps. These are painful muscle contractions where the muscle tenses up and feels firm and painful. At this point, the body's temperature is usually still normal and not usually above 37 degrees. The next is heat exhaustion, where the body's core temperature rises, typically between 37 and 40 degrees. It occurs in conditions of extreme heat and excessive sweating without adequate rehydration. You may feel nausea, vomiting, headache, weakness, and get cold and clammy skin. These are signs that the body is unable to cool itself properly, and if left untreated, it can progress to heat stroke. Heat stroke is the most severe form of heat illness and occurs when the body's heat regulation system is completely overwhelmed by excessive heat. It is a life-threatening emergency that requires immediate medical attention since it can cause death. The body's temperature is usually above 40 degrees, and you may develop confusion, irritability, heart rhythm problems, dizziness, visual problems, and extreme fatigue. At this point, the body actually stops sweating, which is a dangerous sign. If the signs of heat stroke continue, the body's organs then fail and death can occur. It is important to recognize the signs of heat illness from early on so it does not progress further. If you start developing the early signs of muscle cramps, nausea, fatigue, then you should get out of the heat or stop exercising immediately. Remove any extra clothing, fan your body, or wet yourself with cool water. If you have a wet towel or ice pack, place these on your neck, forehead, or armpits. While you're actively trying to cool your core body temperature down, you should also drink water or sports drinks to replenish your water stores. There are certain things that you can do to protect yourself from heat illness. Pay attention to the weather forecasts, along with the humidex, which takes into account the humidity levels. Plan your outdoor activities according to these forecasts. Next, you can give your body time to get acclimatized. For example, after traveling to a hot climate, give yourself a day or two before going out into the hot sun immediately or doing work in the hot environment. Remember to drink lots of fluids to help your body continue sweating. Dress in light, loose-fitting clothing that will help sweat evaporate. And of course, know your own body's fitness level and do not overexert yourself in hot environments. Heat illness is largely preventable, and hopefully this talk has highlighted some of the signs and tips to help prevent it. Thank you for joining me on Health Corner, and I look forward to continuing our talk on heat-related injuries next week on Rudraaya.
हे महालक्ष्मी माँ आई शरण तेरी रख लाज मेरी आई शरण तेरी रख लाज मेरी तू आज दी कर महिमा हे महालक्ष्मी माँ मेरे भाग भी मिया दुनिया आज छनी है मेरे पुण्य की पापी पाप ने छान चढ़ी है मेरे भाग्य भी मिया दुनिया आज छनी है मेरे पुण्य की
My dear viewers, we are at the corporate segment, and so I'd like to introduce you to your host of the corporate segment, Kamalji from Lotus Funeral Home.
Sitaram and Namaste. My name is Kamal Bardwaj, and I'm the owner of Lotus Funeral and Cremation Center and Kitchener Funeral Homes and Crematorium. I thought I'd give an update now, this being the first week of June 2021, about what are the funeral requirements under these new COVID restrictions. So at present, in terms of the capacity of numbers, the government still has 10 people attending a funeral, which includes all the family and friends. With the 10 people that are attending, the funeral home needs the attendees list in advance, so prior to entering, we'll have the list of people that will be attending. Also, there can be a rotation of people, so as again, like before, a group will leave, and before the next group comes in, the sanitization will take place in the building, and that'll take approximately 15 minutes. So again, this will continue throughout the duration of a funeral or a viewing or visitation. Also, hand sanitizers are available at the entrance and exits, so please make sure you put some on prior to entering, and maintain the social distancing protocols as well. At Lotus Funeral and Cremation Center and Kitchener Funeral Homes and Crematorium, we operate 7 days a week and 24 hours a day. Our crematorium is located in our building, so we never have to travel in cold or bad weather to attend a cremation. Our crematorium space can have a large group of people to witness the cremation as well. For Hindu families, we can provide all the puja items, including fresh leaves and a havan kund. We have large halls that accommodate large seating to smaller ones. We are centrally located for families in the west and families from the east. For more information, please contact me from the telephone number on the screen. Thank you for watching, and see you next week on Rudraaya. Sitaram.
Life is beautiful, but death is inevitable. I realized this when my dad passed away. So much pain, and amidst all this, the worry of arranging a funeral. Thankfully, in all this, Kamal stood by me. From the viewing to the cremation, he arranged it all at one location. Once someone is gone, they don't come back. But Lotus Funeral Home knows how to give them a respectable farewell.
Lotus Funeral Home. Life must be celebrated.
Shiva 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 Tamaru bole har 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 Tamaru bole har 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 Ranga bole Shiva 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 Ranga bole Shiva 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 Tamaru bole har har.
My dear viewers, we've come to the end of another segment of Rudraaya, and of course we'd like to thank our kind sponsors at Maha Mandir, as well as our executive producer Gary Khan for making Rudraaya possible. And so until we meet again next week, have a blessed week. Namaste.
आरती कीजे हनुमान लाला की दुष्ट दलं रघुनाथ कला की श्री राम जय जय रामा श्री राम जय रामा जाके बल से गिरिवर पापे रुग दोष जाके निकटन जाके अंजनी पुत्र महाबलधाई संतन के प्रभु सदा सहाय श्री राम जय जय रामा श्री राम जय रामा देवेरा रघुनाथ पताए लंका जाई सिया सुतिलाय लंका सोपोत्र समुद्र सिखाई जात पवन सुत बार नलाए आरती कीजे हनुमान लाला की दुष्ट दलन रघुनाथ कलागे दैत्य पताल तोरे यमकारे अहि रावण के भुजा उखारे बाई भुजा सुरदल मारे, दाहिने भुजा संत जन तारे। श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम, श्री राम जय जय राम। सुर नर मुनि जन आरती उतारे, जय 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 हनुमान उच्चारे। कंचन थार कपूर छाई, आरती कर कंजना माई। श्री राम जय राम, श्री राम जय जय राम। जो हनुमान जी की आरती गावे, बसे वैकुंठ परम पद पावे। आरती कीजय हनुमान लाला की, दुष्ट दलन रघुनाथ कलाई की। श्री राम जय राम, श्री राम जय राम।